by the pained expression on her face. I grabbed the cup of ice chips by her bed, thinking it would help to moisten her dry mouth, but she slapped the cup out of my hand and left me standing there looking stupid, with no idea of what I should do. "This is all your fault," Vickie said through clenched teeth, her eyes bloodshot. I pulled my chair closer to her and rubbed her hand. "You're scared, but everything's going to be all right." I tried to console her. Another set of contractions struck her. Vickie pulled my fingers back so far I was sure she was going to break my hand. 2 hours and a lot of screaming later, Vickie shrieked and pushed with all her might. "Here she is. Congratulations," Dr. Turner announced. I was in shock. I'd never witnessed childbirth before, and at that moment, reality hit me. I'm a fucking father. The nurses and staff wiped the baby off, cut the umbilical cord, and wrapped her in a blanket. "She's tiny, just 4 pounds 9 ounces, the nurse said, smiling down at my daughter. "She is, but listen to her cry. You've got yourselves a strong one here," Dr. Turner said. The nurse attempted to hand the baby to Vickie, but she turned her head and refused to look at our child. Instead, Vickie stared at the fluorescent lights in the ceiling and pushed the baby away. I wiped Vickie's moist face. I couldn't tell if it was wet from sweat or tears. I looked at the nurse and asked, "Can I hold her?" After a nod of approval from Dr. Turner, the nurse handed the baby to me, wearing a look of uncertainty on her face. I reached over to take my daughter, nestled her lovingly in the crook of my arm, and looked down at her for the first time. I rocked her back and forth to quiet her, and at that moment, I immediately fell in love. Her eyes were open, staring up at me. She was small but so beautiful that it nearly took my breath away. She had silky black hair and beautiful gray eyes like her mother's. I couldn't help but smile as I looked at her. Vickie looked at me with a blank expression on her face. "What are you going to name her?" the nurse asked. I faced Vickie. "What about Lynn, after my mother?" I asked. "Call her whatever you want." "Can you at least act like you give a shit?" The nurses and the doctor exchanged glances as I stood next to Vickie with our child. "Isn't she beautiful?" I asked Vickie, but she turned her eyes to the ceiling and placed her arm over her forehead, as if even seeing our child pained her. Dr. Turner signaled for me to hand over the baby. "We have to run some tests on Lynn to make sure she doesn't have any birth defects. Vickie, you'll be able to go home by the middle of the week, but Lynn won't be released until the weekend." Vickie continued to look away and didn't even bother to answer him. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I demanded, staring at her in disbelief. "Nick, I'm a little emotional right now, okay?" "I suppose that's our cue to leave," the doctor said. "We'll give you two some privacy so you can, talk. We'll take the little one and get started on those tests." The nurses nodded and followed the doctor out of the room, one of them pushing the baby on a cart in front of her. "Why are you acting like you're at a funeral instead of celebrating the birth of our child?" I asked as soon as they stepped out. "Because I'm not doing this, Nick. I'm not going to look at that baby when I know I can't be a mother to it. I'm not leaving Frank. This was a mistake. We were a mistake. Our fling was a mistake." "What? Don't give me that shit," I said, struggling to keep the volume down. "You can't back out now. This all stems from you. You came to me. You told me you hate the feeling of condoms. You begged me to fuck you raw, remember? You said you couldn't get pregnant." "I may have said it, but you did it, so who's really at fault, Nick? You. My doctor told me it'd be damn near impossible. Frank and I tried for years, but nothing came of it. How was I supposed to know this would happen?" "Well, obviously a doctor was wrong." Vickie buried her face in her hands. "I shouldn't have told you about the pregnancy. I should have just kept you in the dark like everyone else and given the baby up for adoption." "I'll take care of us, Vickie. You gotta have faith in me," I said. Even though having a baby wasn't in my plans, there was no way I'd allow my flesh and blood to suffer in the system. She laughed. "Nick, you can't even take care of yourself. Listen, you're fun to be with, but you can't seriously think we can be together." "I've changed during your pregnancy, Vickie." "Oh, you've changed. That's odd because I can still smell the alcohol in your breath from last night. You work bullshit home improvement jobs, don't have your own place, and don't even have insurance. As for the pregnancy, I've had to rely on my husband's health coverage for all of it. Thank God Frank never pays attention to this shit and leaves the mail to me. Now I have to intercept it so he doesn't find out about this." "Fuck it. Who cares if he finds out? You're gonna be with me anyway." "Nick, Look, I promise we can make this work. And that little girl's gonna change me for the better, you'll see."